What's up, y'all? Hope y'all doing good. I'm Anthony K. Thomas, and welcome to Wrestling with Rumors. So, before we dive into everything that is Wrestling with Rumors, I got rumors to read to you and a little history of Wrestlepalooza that I want to talk about as well. So, for those who don't know, understand how far back this event actually goes. But before I get into all of that, like I say, every episode of Wrestling with Rumors before I get started is that everything that I am about to read to you is what it is. It is a rumor. We speculate wildly here on Wrestling with Rumors. Let the mind run fun and be free, and let it run through the land of imagination with all these rumors. But until they are proven as fact, we see it happening on TV, they remain what they are, rumors. So with that, let's get into a new episode of Wrestling with Rumors. According to bodyslam.net, there is some disagreement within WWE over who should win the John Cena versus Brock Lesnar match. Excuse me. That one has me look. Okay, hold on a second. Let's take it down a notch. So I think in this match, I would say, honestly, because John Cena is on this tour, this tour, I think he's been winning matches. For the most part, he's been winning every match that he has done to be as part of his world tour to end. But I think because this is Brock Lesnar, this is John Cena, I really feel like it's one of those things that should really come down to like it takes one final move, one final time for it to win. Ooh. I got to give it to Brock Lesnar, honestly. I think, and I know there's a lot of people who will disagree with me on that, but I think in this case, I think Brock Lesnar should win. I think Brock Lesnar should win this match. It'll probably be John Cena who wins this match when this match does happen, and that's great if it goes that way. But I think in this case, to show the human side of John Cena, I think him taking an L for this one, it being a good match. It'll be a good match, I'm sure of that. But I think Brock Lesnar should get the win on this match to keep his dominance within WWE, get that win, as how I see it. I mean, a lot of people will probably disagree with me, but I think it should be Brock Lesnar who gets the win on that one. On Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer said there has been a lot of talk within WWE of Chris Jericho making his return when his contract expires at the end of the year. It's been going around a lot about Chris Jericho. I'm going to come back to this a little bit later because I have two other rumors about Chris Jericho that will just connect this with the other two. So I'm going to come back to that one. But there has been a lot of talk about that as of late. Per Fightful Select, Naomi's pregnancy has led to a huge creative shift within WWE. I would think so. When something unexpected like that happens, yeah, there's going to be some creative shift. I would imagine it's the same kind of creative shift that they had when Becky Lynch was pregnant back in 2020, and she got pregnant. And she had to step away and relinquish the title, and they did that. And the way they did that was that the Money in the Bank match that happened that year in 2020, that went all through WWE headquarters and stuff, and ended on the roof where you had to climb where there was a ring, and you had to climb to the top and get the So the way they did that for the women was that once Becky Lynch relinquished the title, that Money in the Bank contract ended up being not for the briefcase, but which we learned the next night on Raw, which was for the women's championship, and it was just given to Asuka. So even though Asuka did win the Money in the Bank, she never really officially got to cash that in because she was just because she won the match, and that match ended up becoming, instead of for a Money in the Bank briefcase, ended up becoming for the WWE Women's Championships. I believe at that time the Raw Women's Championship. So in this case, I would like to think, I think because we're not going to get a women's world champion at Clash in Paris, because Clash in Paris is a week from Sunday. But I think that there is a tournament that will begin. I think that's the best, that they do a tournament, and the winner of that tournament goes on for a chance at an opportunity for the Women's World Championship, which should take place at Wrestlepalooza. Now, you have Stephanie Vaquer, who has earned her shot for the Women's World Championship. So I say do the tournament, but Stephanie Vaquer has to wait a little bit longer till Wrestlepalooza, and whoever wins in that tournament goes on to face Stephanie Vaquer, and whoever wins that tournament versus Stephanie Vaquer, they will have a match, and that winner in that match at Wrestlepalooza becomes the new Women's World Championship. That's what I think they should do. There's plenty of time to do a tournament to get us to September 20th. That's how that's how they should do it, and that's how I hope they do it. But I'm thinking as of Monday, we should learn exactly what they're going to do about the Women's World Championship. But I really hope it's a tournament, and I really hope it's Stephanie Vaquer doesn't have to fight in that tournament, that she just automatically qualifies, and that she just has to see who she ends up facing, who will be the winner in that tournament, is how I hope that ends up going. Folks have noticed that LA Knight's profile on WWE.com website now appears on the Raw roster, signifying his official switch. Now, what I think is that they didn't wait for the draft on this one. They just went ahead and made the switch. It has been known that Netflix has wanted LA Knight on Raw, and as of late, in the last couple of weeks, the stories that he's been in, especially mostly focused on Seth Rollins and the Vision, which is the name of Seth Rollins' faction. They've just been able to just quietly been able to make that switch and keep him on Raw. It's just been able to do that, no problem. I'm still holding out for the draft because I still believe the draft will happen sometime between September and October. The draft is always fun, and the picks that will happen, it'll probably be the same amount of picks that usually happens between Raw and SmackDown. We'll wait and see on that. I mean, now that SmackDown is no longer a 3-hour show, it went back to 2 hours. Raw is technically about a 2.5 hour to 2 hours and 45 minutes on a rare occasion, when it's needed, a 3-hour show. So, looking forward to the draft. Good to have LA Knight on Raw, and I still believe that during the draft, we'll more than likely still get Cody Rhodes on Raw, and it'll probably be if he loses to Drew McIntyre with that championship on the line down the road. According to PW Insider Mike Johnson's, Wrestlepalooza will have 2 main event level matches, in addition to previously rumored headliner between John Cena and Brock Lesnar. Drew McIntyre challenging for Cody Rhodes' undisputed WWE Championship is also planned for September 20th, start of the ESPN PLE era, which will stream opposed AEW's All Out. Now, what I'll say to that is that we have 2 back-to-back WWE versus AEW events happening. There's one happening, if you're watching this as this is coming out, which is Sunday, that is today, with Heatwave and Forbidden Door. and then the one on September 20th between All Out. I've said in the past, and I've read in the past, that WWE is doing this on purpose, and I see nothing wrong with that. It's good to have healthy competition, and it's good for us as the fans because of the choices that we have on the same day. We don't have to, if we either have WWE and we have AEW, and I think as we get into September 20th, that choice becomes a lot easier for a lot of fans who are not willing or do not want to pay that $29.99 a month for that ESPN Unlimited app to watch the WWE PLEs, and that the pick will either be more people choosing to watch AEW pay-per-views or not choosing to watch either pay-per-view or PLE at all. It'll be interesting come September 20th what choices people will make moving forward now that this ESPN era is starting early in 2025 instead of what we thought when it was going to start in March of 2026 with WrestleMania. So it'll be interesting how that all works out starting next month. As far as the two headline main events, these are the obvious picks for these matches. I'll talk a little bit more about this as I get into the other thing that I'm going to talk about, but these are the two obvious picks in these matches, as well as hopefully a finals within a tournament that I previously just talked about for the women's world title, Stephanie Baker versus whoever wins that tournament. If they end up doing a women's world championship tournament, which I hope they do. Speaking of Wrestlepalooza, WrestleVote says WWE went ahead with using the old ECW event name despite some negative pushback from higher ups on Raw on Monday. So nothing really to say about that. That seems to be a lot of the higher ups problem in that. I don't see anything wrong with using a name from an ECW event. It's the same thing in them using a name from a WCW event, like the Great American Bash being one of those things. War Games being another one of those things. It is in WWE's right to do that because they own the rights not only to WCW, not only to everything in WCW, but ECW as well. So that just really feels like those higher ups problem, and they got to deal with that themselves. On the topic of a possible Chris Jericho WWE return, Fightful Select sources told them Jericho's name hasn't come up. Whoever's around the creative process. So if conversations have happened regarding him internally, it wasn't in the department. One of those WWE higher ups told the outlet that Jericho's on good terms with the company, but another source said it was too early to tell on a return. All you can really do when it comes to Chris Jericho, is speculate about if he or won't he. That's all you can really do. And if it is actually happening and there are talks that are happening, it's excuse me, it's all really on the secret. It's all really just about it's all in the need to know at that time. And then when it's time for everyone else to know, then they'll all know if that's how they're doing it, if that's happening. But to be really on the safe side of all of it, it's 50-50. You speculate as much as you want, if he or won't he. We really don't know until we know. You know what I mean? According to WrestleVotes Radio, there is significant interest in WWE for Chris Jericho to return to the company after his AEW contract expires. One source expressed a deal to be made between Jericho and WWE when that time comes. Bodyslam.net claims that WWE has been planning... Oh, sorry. Rewind. Actually, no, I'm not going to rewind because it's really just the same thing that I've said before. about the whole Chris Jericho thing. If there's interest, that's good. If he comes back, I look forward. I would be excited to see him come back and be curious to see what exactly goes down with a WWE return for him, how that looks, who's he going after, what's he going after, all that stuff. So, Bodyslam.net claims that WWE has been planning a feud between the Wyatt Six and MTFs, and it's expected to begin soon. Since the MTFs are going after the WWE tag team titles, it would only make sense to get that feud started. And there's a match coming up this Friday on SmackDown. On SmackDown, where the winner of that tag match will go on to face will go on to face the WWE tag team champions, the Wyatt Six, and one of those challengers is MTF. So going into that match, it'll definitely be MTF who will probably more likely get the win, and then we'll go right into all the mind games that will be the Wyatt Six once that begins. Per one, AEW has planned for a while to book a tag team title match of FTR versus Adam Copeland and Christian Cage on September 20th at All Out in Toronto. However, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin weren't up for losing to FTR. AEW considered two ways to get around the problem in order to put the tag belts on FTR. The first idea was to do a three-way, and the other idea was to have Benjamin do an injury angle. So for Forbidden Door, they are going with the triple threat match. So at Forbidden Door, it will be a triple threat for the tag team championships. So I think what will happen is I think FTR will get the win in that triple threat. They'll win the tag titles, but I don't think they'll pin either Benjamin or Lashley. I think they'll pin Bandito or someone else to get that win, and then that'll give the Hurt Syndicate give them the story that they never officially lost that championship, and they'll eventually get a rematch down the line. But then we take this match with FTR now holding the tag titles, go on to All Out and face Adam Copeland and Christian Cage for those tag team titles, is how I could see it going from getting from Forbidden Door to All Out. We'll really see how it goes, because I think if it goes like that, Christian Cage and you get to that match, and I think, and as cool as I think it would be to see Adam Copeland and Christian Cage win the tag titles, I think what happens is FTR would win that match, go into a rematch with the Hurt Syndicate. No, that wouldn't work, because they don't want to lose to the Hurt Syndicate. So it would be Adam Copeland and Christian Cage beats FTR to win the tag titles, and then we're either in another triple threat tag team championship match, or up next is the Hurt Syndicate for that rematch with Adam Copeland and Christian Cage, and they can say that Adam Copeland owes Hurt Syndicate a favor for what they did for him on an episode of Dynamite. So yeah, I could see that happening and going that way too. So okay, that'll do it for rumors. That one kind of just threw me off, because I really thought I had another one, but I don't. So let me get into everything Wrestlepalooza real quick, because I knew I kind of dodged some things when reading some rumors about Wrestlepalooza. So I'm gonna bring it all in. So first off, as we are all aware of, WWE moves early to ESPN as of September 20th with Wrestlepalooza. So let me start with the history of Wrestlepalooza for those who might not know. So the history of Wrestlepalooza, it starts in 1995 with ECW. ECW had the first Wrestlepalooza event in 1995. There were a total of 4 Wrestlepalooza events in 1995, in 1997, 1998, and the last one being April of 2000. We cut to 25 years later. WWE is bringing Wrestlepalooza back, and they're using Wrestlepalooza as that first event to break into a new era of WWE PLE's main roster only on ESPN Unlimited. That's what they initially call their streaming app, ESPN Unlimited. And Wrestlepalooza is that event. Now, as far as the matches that I had brought up earlier in this episode, Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre is definitely an event I see happening at Wrestlepalooza. It feels that is what we're building towards. We haven't seen Cody Rhodes in a minute. I think he returns. I could see him returning next week at either the episode before Clash in Paris or at Clash in Paris, returning at Clash in Paris. And then either way, that return happening fairly soon, as we begin to build this story to Wrestlepalooza. Cody Rhodes does have a few. I know he's gonna be gone for a while from rumors that I've read. I'm only speculating on this because he is going to film the new Street Fighter movie, but he won't be gone as long as Roman Reigns is expected to be gone, as he's expected to be gone for about 3 to 4 weeks to film his parts in Street Fighter. But Cody Rhodes would be back a lot sooner. We'll get that story going between Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre. Well, not get it going, but continue to allow it to build, because the seeds were planted a couple weeks ago, and now time to really allow that plant to grow as far as that storyline goes. The other match being John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. Absolutely, I feel that is absolutely where I feel that match is going to happen, is at Wrestlepalooza. As far who gets the win, as I stated earlier, I think Brock Lesnar will get the win to show his dominance. And because I feel that if John Cena got the win, I would feel like the win is more because he's on his retirement tour, which is why he would get the win. And I feel that if he loses that match, really shows his humanity and how human he is, and how much time he has left in his retirement run. He can bounce back from that loss and move on to the next one, all the way to December 13th, Saturday night's main event, for his final match against whoever that will be. Side note, I was really hoping it would have been Karrion Kross who would have faced John Cena in that final event, because I saw this thing in my mind for it, especially if John Cena was still holding the WWE Championship. But expect the unexpected, and things are how they are. But yeah, so that's the history of Wrestlepalooza. Those are the 2 main event matches that I see happening at Wrestlepalooza. I'm really sticking with that tournament idea that I talked about for the Women's World Title, with Stephanie Verker facing the winner of that tournament at Wrestlepalooza with the Women's World Championship on the line. But we'll see how that goes. Hopefully we'll learn more about that on Monday, whether or not there is going to be a tournament or not. And that is everything from Wrestling with Rumors, everything I wanted to talk about when it comes to Wrestlepalooza. And thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can keep up when all new episodes of Wrestling with Rumor drops, and when my weekly show, Rumor of the Day, drops as well. Have a good, fun, and safe week. Don't forget to take care of yourselves, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace, y'all.